Hi, and welcome to On the Sofa, episode 3, where we are joined with Ashley and his beautiful daughter Adelie, who is from Sway Electrics and Solar. Thank you for joining us this morning, Ashley. We'd love you to tell us a little bit about your business.
No problem, thanks for having me. This is Adelie, one of 3 children. I've got my wife Karenza, who, when you're a business owner, having a very supportive wife is obviously extremely important. We've been running for about 10 years. We specialise in solar and battery storage, as well as maintenance with second homeowners, holiday lets, EICRs, and that sort of thing.
Brilliant. So obviously renewable energies has grown massively over the last couple of years. What made you want to specialise in solar energy in particular?
Well, I was quite fortunate. So in my apprenticeship, before I'd even qualified, we were the big solar boom in 2010, 2011. I actually was put in charge of some quite big projects down in Cornwall, so schools, leisure centres, libraries, that sort of thing. And I found myself running solar jobs as a third-year apprentice, running scaffolders, roofers, electricians. That sort of died down a bit when all of the grants and the feed-in tariffs sort of dropped off, but it's starting to pick up massively now because of the price of electricity and the quality of the actual installation. So the solar panels, the batteries, the technologies is so good now that for about £10,000 you can get a really good solar system which will save you money, and the payback time is generally about 5 to 10 years now. So people are spending, like I said, if you've got £10,000 ish, you can put that onto your property, and within 5 years it's paying for itself.
Brilliant. What do you think the biggest misconception about solar is? I mean, obviously over the years it's evolved so much, hasn't it? What if you were to look at like your standard residential property, what do you think would be their biggest concern with solar?
Like I touched on, so when we were doing it back in 2010, the time it would take for the installation to pay for itself was about 25 years, so it was quite a long time. The technology was new. It was sort of some would work, some wouldn't. A lot of cheap manufacturing practices cause a lot of issues, whereas now we're qualified with the NIC and the MCS, and so there's a lot of quality standards which weren't there before. Technology-wise, battery storage is a game changer because it means you can store the energy and use it when electricity is its most expensive, which is sort of during the days, and then you can then charge your batteries up at night. But things like the rental of your roof, which was back sort of in 2010, you'd have people thinking that they were getting a solar installation, and then when they come to sell their home, they'd realise they'd actually sold their roof off to the solar company, who, like you said, potentially they go bust, and then you no longer own your roof. Who owns your roof? And you can't sell your house. So all of those issues are they're back in the past now. So now when 99% of the time when you buy a solar and battery storage system, you own all of it, and it's part of your property when you sell.
Yeah, I think that's something we certainly came up as agents. We'd go to visit a property, they had leased solar panels, and of course the first thing we think is this property mortgageable at this point, because they technically had leased their roof out for, like you say, 25 years. So when you come to market, it's always really good to know who your provider is and what length lease you've got left. So that we've got a really good understanding from the word go, really. It's really interesting to talk about, but obviously there is another side to your business, which of course is the electrical side. So again, what do you see is the biggest mistake the average DIY person makes with electrics? Like, that's obviously quite a major safety factor. Is there certain aspects of it that you think, please don't do this?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's generally the biggest issue is when people sort of think, I can change a socket, I can change this, I can do bits and bobs, which, to be fair, a lot of people can, but loose connections is such a big issue. So as we do 4 years of college, and we have a lot of experience doing what we do, and in those 4 years of training to be an electrician, I've done really bad jobs as you're training. So if you haven't trained at all, those loose connections can cause fires, they can cause electrocution, so you do need, if any electrical work has to be done by an electrician, and especially one that's registered with the NIC. Big things like saunas, electric showers, the stuff that, solar, if there are loose connections, it will not take long for those loose connections to sort of like cause big heat issues, and then potentially fires. We've hundreds that we've come across where terminals are loose, and and if that happens and a non-electrician has done the work, then your insurance won't cover you if anything does go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Another sort of really popular, something that's become really popular is EV chargers as well, and I'm assuming that falls into the same category as all of those kind of bigger appliances, really, that you're thinking actually if you're going to install that, make sure it's done by a professional, make sure it's installed and regulated. Do you find that many people are asking for sort of EV chargers at the moment?
EV chargers is a big one, especially in the last few years. Especially, oil prices are they're so up and down. Electricity, fortunately, it does go up, but it's very much more stable. So the EV charger market, again, the last couple of years with electricity prices, people are charging their batteries and then they're charging their cars for free sometimes if they've got solar. So, EV chargers, I'd sort of get on the bandwagon of EV chargers because it's only going one way. With obviously the price of oil and gas, I've chosen the right trade being in the electrical industry.
Yeah, absolutely. No, brilliant. So if you were to give a home seller one tip when it comes to electrics, what would that one tip be?
Sure, it would be to have an in-date and satisfactory EICR. So the electrical safety aspect I've mentioned about insurance. If you're selling your home and you have a satisfactory in-date EICR, no questions will be asked because it's a safe installation. An EICR lasts for 5 years in residential, so I'd recommend. And if you're buying a home, make sure you've got one, because the last thing you'd want is to move in to a home, your beautiful home, and then realise it needs a rewind. You've got to rip it apart to get it up to standard and safe.
Absolutely. So. No, I totally agree with you. And actually, over the last couple of years, what we've certainly experienced again as estate agents is more and more people are becoming more and more educated when it comes to what they're asking for at the point of, inquiring, viewing. People are asking the age of the electrics. When was it last rewired? So I think having that document in place from the word go, it basically could save you a huge amount of time, and it gives the agent confidence to be able to say, actually, here is the information. So I think that's a really valid point that you've just made. So obviously, it'd be great for us to be able to get in contact with you. So if anyone is looking to, have an electrical report carried out, or are considering solar or EV chargers or generally any electrical work, how do they get in contact with you?
Sure, so we're on all the social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. We've got a beautiful website that you can go to just to see all of our sort of previous solar jobs and what we do. But I'd recommend, like I said, even if it's just advice, if you have solar at the moment and you just want some advice on it, advice is free from us. We're here to help. Basically, we're a problem-solving electrical company.
Fantastic. Ashley, thank you. And Adelaide, of course, thank you so much for joining us this morning. All of this information has been really helpful. So if you are obviously looking for any kind of additional help or information from Ashley, please get in contact with him. And thank you for joining us.